Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
On today's episode, we're going to rank the top 15 transfer players in terms of their impact on their new team. And we're ranking them kind of relative to their position and their impact on their new position group. Because obviously quarterback is the most important position, but we didn't want to have a top 15 quarterback list. So keep that in mind as we go through the list here. But Ryan, get us started with number 15.
All right, we're going to start with Jared Verse. He is coming from the great football power of the Albany Great Danes. He's going to Florida State. He's an edge rusher, had 52 tackles last year for Albany, 9.5 sacks. But just a playmaker. That kid can make a difference coming off the edge, getting to the quarterback. So he's got the potential to be an immediate impact player for the Noles.
Yep. Number 14, DILLON Gabriel, comes to Oklahoma from UCF. He was sought after by Ole Miss and, of course, UCLA. Well, he was almost penciled in there. But he's reunited with Jeff Lebby at offensive coordinator. He was the OC for Gabriel a couple years back in his breakout year at Central Florida. And his numbers overall were just super gaudy. Threw 70 touchdowns, only 14 interceptions in 26 games. I think he could have a good year for OU.
All right, number 13 on the list is an offensive lineman, Osiris Torrence, a guard from Louisiana going to Florida following his head coach, Billy Napier. He's a beast, 6'5", 330 pounds. He started 38 games in his career, and he was a PFF All-American this past season. So this is a big position of need, offensive line for Florida, and he's going to start right away, and I'm sure be great.
He should be. All right, moving on to number 12, another offensive lineman. We got KINGSLEY SUAMATAIA. Is going from Oregon to BYU. He didn't play much at Oregon, just in one game, but he was a true freshman offensive lineman, so tough for them to play. But he was a 5-star, big-time recruit. This kid's got a ton of potential. So he's got a solid solid shot to go ahead and go in and start.
I hope not.
Oh boy,
it wouldn't be that if it was solid, was it?
Oh, this is going to be an explicit episode. Wouldn't be that.
What have we done?
I took it off the rails fast. All right. He's going to BYU and going to have a good chance just to start, even though they have some guys that are some coming back on that line.
Indeed. All right, number 11, Victor OLUWATIMI. He's a center from Virginia heading to Michigan. He was a Rivington Award finalist. Pro Football Focus had him as the second best run blocking center, and he helped Virginia have one of the most productive offenses last year. And he's reliable. He started 32 games in a row, and he's going to help pave the way for what Michigan hopes to be another strong rushing attack.
Okay, into the top 10. Number 10 is wide receiver Mario Williams going from Oklahoma to USC. He was a top 50 recruit in 2021, and as a true freshman was tied for second on OU in reception. So, wasn't a huge year, but for a true freshman at a big school like OU, certainly promising. And USC, they've got a lot of talent in the receiving room, but there's no proven number one. That is definitely not there right now. He is a candidate for that.
Yeah, he is. Similar story here for Jermaine Burton, at number 9. He is going from Georgia to Alabama. Good first couple years there at Georgia, about 900 yards and 8 touchdowns. So pretty good numbers, but with a guy like Bryce Young throwing you the ball and as potent as that Alabama passing attack has been, good signs that Jermaine Burton might put up some better numbers as long as he can get in the rotation.
Yep. Number 8, Zach Evans, going from TCU to Ole Miss, and part of the impressive transfer haul for Lane Kiffin and the Rebels. He was a top recruit in the 2020 cycle, a little bit limited last year by injury, but he still had over 600 yards in 6 games, averaged 7 yards per carry, also had 10 receptions, and he's a dynamic playmaker that's really going to help fill the void. They lose Jarian Ely and Snoop Connor, and we saw how productive those two were. So I have a feeling Evans will fit right in and help that offense in the next year.
Okay, moving on to number 7, Brandon Joseph transferring from Northwestern to Notre Dame. He's a safety, going to be taken over for Kyle Hamilton, so big shoes to fill, but he was an All-American in 2020. Brandon Joseph was for Northwestern. So the upside is there, and I wouldn't think there'll be a huge drop-off.
Yep, he was good. All right, let's move on to number 6. I got Spencer Rattler, the Oklahoma quarterback, going to South Carolina now. Rewind about a year ago or so, he was a Heisman favorite going into the year for Oklahoma. And he didn't get there by accident. He played some good ball for them. 70% completion percentage passer in his career, 40 touchdowns, 12 picks. So, most schools would die to have a QB rating, QB stats like that. Not going to put that up at South Carolina, probably, but if he can get anywhere close to that, they'll be much better.
And you talk about impact compared to their quarterback play last year. That's huge.
Yep.
All right, number 5, we got Jackson Dart going from USC to Ole Miss, and he was the top commit that the Rebels got in this kind of transfer haul that they led, which led to their 24/7 number 2 ranked transfer class. He will have to battle Luke Altmaier, but Dart obviously seems like the favorite. His true freshman year at USC with very little help was pretty impressive. Threw for over 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. He only started 3 games, played in 6. His raw talent, getting paired with a QB guru like Lane Kiffin, should be great. I think he has similar moxie to Matt Corral, and I don't see why he couldn't have success just like Corral had.
Okay, number 4, JAHMYR GIBBS going from Georgia Tech to Alabama. Alabama really needed some help on this roster. Really weak roster overall, of course. But, he's a great running back. He proved it at Georgia Tech. He's also a great receiver out of the backfield, so that'll be a good weapon for Alabama. And, Alabama, of course, has talent at running back, but there was no proven, really great guy that can kind of be the bell cow. So now they got one.
That they do. All right, number 3, I got Quinn Ewers. He's transferring from Ohio State and going to Texas. Huge get for Texas, of course. Ewers is a kid with a ton of potential, number 1 recruit a couple years back. And you would expect him to do well at Texas, honestly. Steve Sarkisian is a great offensive coach. And just the overall pedigree and the fact that Ewers is so talented that you would think that he would do pretty well, given that Texas is bringing in a lot of talent around him, especially up front. So I think that really sets up well for him. I think he's gonna do well there.
All right, number 2, Eli Ricks, the corner from LSU going to Alabama. Instant impact player. We saw in the national title how Bama was a little young. Obviously, they had some injuries before, but they were a little young, needed a tad more help in that secondary. So enter Ricks. He was a 5-star a couple years ago, 3rd-team All-American as a freshman that year where he had 4 picks, 9 pass breakups. He'll be just fine in that tied secondary.
Number 1, kind of an easy pick here. It was unanimous agreement among the 3 of us. Caleb Williams going from Oklahoma to USC. Number 4 in the nation in QBR as a true freshman. 21 touchdowns, 4 picks. Had over 400 yards rushing on 5.6 yards per carry. So he is immensely talented. He proved it. And this was all as a true freshman. So following Lincoln Riley, you'd think he'd have a ton of success at USC, especially as they get more and more talent over. Well, I guess he's only going to be there 2 years if all goes to plan.
Yes, that's their plan.
Yeah, exactly. So he'll help raise the floor for USC. But any quick snubs from you guys that were higher on your list than ended up on this overall?
What about you, Trey?
I'm going to look at Isaiah Nair. Broke out at Wyoming this year. Wide receiver going to Texas. Averaged 20 yards per catch, 44 receptions, 12 touchdowns. And I think it just helps Texas not solely rely on Xavier Worthy on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll go with Travis Dye, Oregon running back transferring to USC. He put up huge numbers last year, like over about 1,300 yards rushing, 400 yards receiving. He was just doing everything for them. So that's a big get for the Trojans.
Okay, last one. I guess we're all going offensive skill players. Jacob Cowing from UTEP going to Arizona. He was 9th in the country in receiving yards last year, almost 20 yards a catch. So he's a big play threat. Arizona's offense is going to be a lot better this upcoming year. But that'll do it for this episode. Let us know in the comments below any snubs. I'm sure it was tough to make this list.
There's a lot.
10 or 15 guys that could have easily made this top 15. So let us know some of those guys in the comments, and we will see you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.